Hi, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning. Mahalo, Doc.
It's morning my time, yes.
Aloha. It's morning your time. Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to the Gratitude Journey with Michelle, and we're at episode 29. And this afternoon or this day, I'm so grateful to have a best-selling author, a PhD, a well-known best-selling author, and she's also have a couple of podcasts going, and she's serves as a guide for those ready to awaken the souls. I highlight calling, shift the consciousness. If you go over to her podcast and some website later, you would know that the power of mindset and DNA rewiring. And why I'm so grateful because with this holiday season, we all this emotion comes to surface. So what a better way to have an expert with Dr. Lisa Thompson to be in this podcast episode so today. So before I get started, Doc, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, I have been on a wild ride in this human journey in this life. And I yeah, I've had so many different experiences. I love that your show focuses on gratitude because I've been through so many different hard, challenging lessons in my life that I have come out of even better than before. I feel like I'm the continuing rising phoenix. So I did grow up in a kind of different spiritual household. My mother was always into the metaphysical practices like astrology. She had psychic friends, tarot card readers, all that. And when I was 13, we moved from Oklahoma State to Washington State to attend a spiritual school of enlightenment where I was learning about higher consciousness, creating your reality, things outside of this physical earth reality. And that's really where the mindset work started for me was, and I'm turning 53 this month. And just
Oh,
and so it's been an almost 40-year journey of understanding how mindset really does create our reality and the kind of life that we're living. And I can tell you, I've had a lot of practice in what not to do as well as what to do.
so let's go dive into this mindset because I was stalking you in your Facebook a little bit because, as you know, full disclosure, this is actually the first time we met,
Yeah.
and so but I was going through your social media and it's really powerful, and I've been practicing gratitude and how powerful mindset is, and it's about the awakening and everything. And thank you for sharing a little bit of the vulnerability as to how you grew up. So can you you said like you learn a lot and you learn what to do. So can you share a little bit about it?
Yeah.
Tidbits like couple of experiences that what not to do. Let's go first with what not to do.
Well, and it's so funny because now, like hindsight, I know how I chose those situations so that I could learn and grow from them. But I came into this world being an only child, and my mother, she's passed away a couple years ago, but she did not want to be a mother, and she was not the like cuddly motherly type. I pretty much raised myself, and with that I had a lot of lessons of worthiness, lack of love, being unwanted, that created a series of toxic relationships. And so I have been married 3 times, and my first 2 husbands were not great. They were great learnings, and they helped me birth my 2 children. I have a daughter and a son from each of those marriages. And then, though, when I got out of the second marriage, I realized, okay, I'm the common denominator here. And I need to do some deep dive healing for myself
Mhm.
so that I'm not recreating these patterns. So I did that. And when I got to a point where I felt like, okay, I'm feeling really good about myself and my life, I met my third husband who he we were together for 8 years. He was the love of my life. I, for the first time in my life, felt truly loved and supported. and I could really be who I was authentically.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue, September of 2023, so just over 2 years ago, he committed suicide. And it completely changed my world. And so fortunately, with all the spiritual practices that I had and my understanding, my deep spiritual knowingness, I was able to navigate that grief process a little bit differently than what our society really wants to put onto us, project onto us. Okay, and real quick on that note,
You have to.
I know my dog.
You have a four-legged son. Okay, I said, okay, go. That's fine. I'll drink a cup of tea while you're doing that.
Okay, he's.
What's your dog's name?
His name is Jax, and he's an older dog. And when he has to go potty, if I don't let him out when he's barking at me, he will go in the house.
Yeah, he will have an accident. Yeah. How old is Jack?
He's 13.
Oh.
So,
I have a 17-year-old Jack Russell Terrier. So 16 and a half. So I know the feeling. So for those, and again, I mean, I really admire your honesty and really open book and authenticity and sharing that, because some of the, like, especially as I said, like during holiday season, all of these things that triggers, right? And I know that you're doing some workshop right now to have the DNA awake, rewiring and everything. For those that are not familiar of what multidimensional healer is, that, like, as you know, we have the society, right? So this is really like kind of not the normal way of grieving, not the normal way of rewiring or coaching kind of thing. So can you just give a little bit of an idea as to how it would help, especially again, like I'm sorry about your husband, the third husband committing suicide, but during from Thanksgiving to Christmas, that's really kind of all the depression, the triggers, the emotional roller coaster. So how this multidimensional healer, and also about your book and everything.
Okay, so we are all multidimensional beings. We are more than just this one Earth human life, and I'm not sure where your audience is and their understanding of that, but I'll just say from my experience,
more of a highlight level view. Yes,
yeah. So, I'm here in this expression as Lisa in this moment, just like you're here as Michelle. But this physical costume that we are wearing, this avatar, this isn't really who we are. We truly are energy. We are our soul, our essence. And when this physical body perishes, the soul doesn't die, the energy doesn't die. And so I had started to really understand that before my husband's passing, because one of the modalities that I'm trained in and that I do with my clients is traditionally called past life regression therapy, where we tap into other lives to bring forth any blockages or limitations to help clear those. And when we get to the root cause, whether it's in this life or a different life of something that's holding someone back, keeping them stuck, when we change the story or we understand it from a higher perspective, then when they come out of it, that's what starts to rewire the brain and change the DNA. So what's interesting is that as I've gone along on this spiritual journey, my own personal journey, I have discovered different multidimensional aspects of myself here on Earth, but also not of Earth. So you see my little ET friend in that.
I was about to ask. Like, tell me, for sure, my audience will be asking me. With the comments, like, it's like, what is that?
Right. So this is part of the story, actually, of I've been an experiencer, contactee with the ETs my entire life, and different groups, not just the traditional gray types that people describe. Although with them as well. And though I had to hide that side of myself for most of my life because I had
The
these different
more, yeah,
I had
exciting.
different careers like
Yeah.
professor of biology and mortgage and interior design, where I had to be normal, right? I had to pretend that I was
What
normal.
is normal anyway, Doc?
Right? What is normal?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
when I moved here to Hawaii 5 years
Mhm.
ago from Olympia, Washington, that's when I was able to let go of those masks. I started a night sky watch UFO tour under my spiritual business. And because then I was starting to share my stories, more information was coming through to me from my team, my higher dimensional team,
Mhm.
the angelics, the galactics, the fairies, like my spirit guides, my animal guides. So all the information was starting to come. And I realized, wow, okay, all these things that are coming through are aspects of myself. Because I did start channeling 13 different higher galactic races, which,
Wow.
and my husband was like, what? Okay, I didn't sign up for
You
this.
didn't say, what am I signing for? What am I married for, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But part of that, actually, so three of the groups that I actively work with that are aspects of myself gave me my infinity healing method. I basically channel the healing energy from those realms. So it's a multidimensional, faceted aspect of healing that gets to, again, the root cause, the core of someone's issue. And so it's not just a band-aid. We
You're
really,
really going through the root because as to why is it so that you're able to really rewire the DNA, because if
exactly.
you're putting a band-aid, exactly, that it's just like,
Yeah.
you're not really helping. It might help with the pain temporarily, but then there's all these triggers again.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you mentioned about vibration, because I always say, like, it's you are whatever vibration that you put in. So it's just like, yeah, like if Albert Einstein used to say, it's just really a matter of energy, right? If you put in
Mhm.
positive energy, it will bring out. So I really like that you mentioned that, because when I was grieving also, they were saying, like, oh, like the norm, right? Like, okay, you cannot wear, you're gonna be wearing black or something. Why are you smiling? Why are you going out? So we have, and sometimes you kind of, because we don't want to be judged, talking about like your personality, and so like, okay, maybe I just have to stay in this thing. So I'm so glad that when I was going to, again, your social media post, that it's okay that you can, because sometimes it takes a lot of courage and vulnerability, and people like you that would help someone like me, like grieving, or anyone that's grieving through all this, or different whatever type they have, that it needs to be more personal growth, that it's okay.
Yeah. Well, and part of like, again, and part of my husband's passing
Yeah.
really anchored in even more how multidimensional we are,
Mhm.
because even though his physical body was gone, he was still there and he is still here.
Yeah.
And so he would come through in different ways.
Yeah.
He would
In
speak
a
through,
parallel universe.
yeah, well, he would speak through psychic mediums giving me messages. He would come in different animal forms. He would speak to me through songs, and I occasionally would see his energy form, which was massive. Like it was this iridescent kind of energy that I could really actually see, knowing he was there. I could smell things, knowing, okay, he's here with me. And so when we understand that, yes, our deceased loved ones, we miss them in this earth plane, like,
Mhm.
and we're used to whatever the customs, the things that we're used to, the holiday traditions, and they are still there. And it's a new opportunity for us to really assess our life and take a look at, like, okay, what's really important to me now? And maybe we were holding ourselves back in some areas because of that loved one being in our life, and not right or wrong, good or bad, but like for me, I there were a couple things that I was holding back with him still being in my life, that when he was gone, I'm like, you know what? I get to do whatever I want to do now. So I'm going to go to Egypt for 2.5 weeks. I'm going to hire this coach, this mentor that I wouldn't have done if he was still
Mhm.
here. And I don't have to be around these people anymore because he's not here. So I got to really pick and choose who was in my life,
Mhm.
what I was doing actively, like daily. And yes, there are the moments of like that deep sadness, that deep grief. And what I would then do if I was in that, I would let myself feel it.
Okay.
It's so important that we don't stuff the emotions, that we just let it out. But
Mhm.
then once that had processed, then I'm like, okay, what what brings me joy? Let me go do that. And so I live 10 minutes from the beach. The beach is my happy place. If I've got my toes in the sand and I'm under my umbrella, I'm a happy girl. So that, like, regularly I would go to the beach. That was therapy for me. Or I would, and during the holidays, this is one thing that my husband, he thought it was really cheesy, but he loved me for it. I would watch all the holiday movies, all the
You
like,
are you the Hallmark Channel?
well, I back in Olympia, I watched the Hallmark Channel, but now I it's Amazon Prime and Netflix, which
Yeah.
are same kind of movies, and and sometimes they trigger more depths of sadness because I'm like, oh, I don't have this anymore. But then it also gives me hope. Okay, I've got a lot of life left. I'm here still living. He is
Mm.
still here. What like what can I do in my life that's going to keep me moving forward? And that's where practices of gratitude, I love that your show is all about that, because when we can be grateful in our present moment, even for the small thing, like, I am so grateful I woke up this morning. I am so grateful I get to wake up and have my cup of coffee and I get to
And you're
talk to
living in
Michelle.
Hawaii, and not in a minus degree freezing cold when you get outside. Right.
Yeah. Well, okay, yes. And I am very grateful I do live in Hawaii and don't have to deal with snow and cold anymore.
So the
But
shovel snow and or rake
yeah,
leaves.
but even if that gratitude is just, again, like, I'm grateful I woke up. But then if we can start thinking, okay, future, like, what do I want to create? And then that gratitude becomes as if it's already happened. And that's where the rewiring of, the brain and the DNA activating to that frequency, that timeline reality, that's when we get there. So it's multifaceted.
Doc, you mentioned about and you're watching Hallmark Channel or some Christmas movies, and all these emotions trigger, and you really twice you mentioned that you really acknowledge that feelings, the grief, and then you move forward. So for those, and I was for a while also, there are times that it would take me 3 or 4 days. Again, there's no time frame, right? But what
Yeah.
are the tools that you can share in your expertise that you might help the listeners or watching this or listening later on, that could help them not to snap out of it, but to kind of give them hope that everything is temporary, right? The only thing that's constant is change. But what are the tools that you could share from your experience
Well, I mean, for me,
aside
really
from going to
have,
the beach?
yeah. Well, so, I mean, whatever is someone's personal beach, whatever
Yeah.
brings you joy, that can actually regulate your nervous system. So just even being out in nature, even if it's just for a few minutes, just being among the trees or the grass, wherever you live, just being out in nature can really help ground you back into neutral in your body. Um, Taking showers, and do even visualization of, like, imagining the water just washing over you and clearing away any of the stuck, emotions that you might have. For me, I needed to move the energy, and so I would put on my favorite music and I would dance it out. And so, and I used to be a dancer, so dancing brings me joy. So I would just dance like no one was watching, and actually no one was watching. And I would sing, and I'm not a great singer, but like
Yeah.
playing music in my car, and I'd sing and I'm dancing and I'm just moving the energy and creating new things, like new rituals, new habits, really. And then also taking care of your body in terms of like, what are you putting in your mouth? Food, drink, the things like that.
Mhm.
Those were all very easy, free kinds of things to do that helped move the energy and would shift me into a higher frequency state.
For those listeners and watchers that are really new into, the multidimensional, all the other facets and the universe and the that we are, like when, because I was raised Catholic, and so just a couple of us, so Catholic critique, Catholic strict, and then was I was going through my husband. I mean, we were both, and I shared with you, we were both diagnosed with 6 months apart with cancer. He passed away, and I'm a cancer survivor. But one of my good friends give me this Tibetan's way of living and dying, and really talk more about the Buddhism and everything. And it opens other way of how death and how we practice, like other cultures practice that. So the reason I'm saying this is for those that, and then how I wish, I think I always say that we meet people for a reason. I think Jerry has a way of meeting us, because he would, before it is like, I will never be away, Michelle. Like, I will be in your trip. I will be in the air. I will be in this. And you just kind of mentioned that they are not here physically, but they could be in the song that you hear, or in when you are raking leaves in the morning this morning, and then something I'm gonna trigger. So, but for those that like are a little bit like, for me, when, oh my God, when I was, you would laugh at this, because like doing things that you don't used to do, right? When when you have a husband or something, like being raised Catholic again, then I always want to go to Morocco, so I went to one of the mosques, because that's one of the mosques that you could go stand practicing. But then the Catholic guilt, like after I went to the mosque and the cloister, I run to the Notre Dame and I was like, and then I made a confession to the priest. So like, what is your sin? I said, I just went to the mosque. So, but because you are trained that way, and then later on, of course, I grow up and everything, and you become a better version of myself and more rounded. But for those that are like someone like me, that raised in that really structured and things, and remember, then it's not enough fault, that's just how we're raised, the society. What are like little baby steps that you could like read, like reading things that you could share, because that really opens me also, to other facets of dimension and everything. And been being married with Sherry for 20 plus years, and I mean, you and him would really have more better conversation with the multidimensional than me. And I guess that's why he brought me to you right now. We're both together. What would be the baby steps that you could?
Well, I mean, okay, here's what, and I didn't grow up religious, but I have like I've learned about different religions in my life, and so the basis of all the religions that I fully understand is that we are all connected to source, right? And we can call it God, universe, source. We are all connected to each other. We are all connected to that. And love is the basis of everything. And so when we know that we are fully connected to everything, and then this might go a little deeper, but universe, God, source is within each one of us. And no matter where you think you go after the body perishes, again, that energy doesn't die. It's still there. And we can have connection with those loved ones. So even if those of you watching think, okay, well, after we die, I go to heaven. Okay, great. And your family, your whoever is passed away in this form, they're there in heaven as energy, and you can connect with them. Your angels, you can connect with. And so it's really about getting quiet and asking for that connection And when you ask for it and you start noticing little signs, little synchronicities, they will speak to you in different ways. You might see a feather or a coin or a certain animal, and you know that that's them. Or here in Hawaii, every time my daughter sees rainbows, it triggers her mind to her stepdad. And so, and rainbows really are the crossing over to the other side. And so for her, she always knows he's around, and we have rainbows all the time. So it's a constant memory that, okay, yes, he's, even though the physical body's gone, that energy is still here. So really, I think the baby step is knowing or trusting, because it's hard to just know, but trusting that there is still connection. The love doesn't die. The love does remain. And you can really start getting those messages. And it really just, it's a matter of paying attention. And that's one of the, so in my book, I talk about the different ways that he would come through to me specifically, not through just psychic mediums. But then I've also, with the book, I created a free gift to help people that really want to connect in terms of how to actually notice what some of these signs and synchronicities are, because sometimes they speak through electricity, through lights. Like you might see a blinking light that you're like, why is that blinking? And it's because they're communicating. They're there. They're just showing you that they're there. And again, they might come through numbers, or you might see a message on the side of a truck or on a billboard. And that's the way that they can speak to us. Sometimes they can speak more directly if people are open enough. But for those that aren't, they will show signs that they're there.
It's really interesting, and it's a good segue about the book, because you mentioned about the book, and the all the information will be in the once this one recorded, it will be in the social media, so they will have. So we're gonna get that as well. But speaking of the book, did you wrote it before or during? What inspired you to it? I know you mentioned a little bit about, and there's some exercise. And it's available in Amazon, I presume, as well, right? And some
Yeah.
books, and audiobook as well, or an ebook?
Not audiobook, just
Okay.
Kindle version or paperback.
Okay. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, so I have written several books prior to this one. And when he passed, because I write about what I know and what I experience in different facets of my life, I knew pretty early on that likely this was going to be a book at some point, but I didn't know what it was going to be right after he passed. But what I did was, my best friend, she was here for 3 weeks, 3 straight weeks after he passed. She lives in Olympia, so she flew out here to Hawaii. She was with me for 3 weeks, helping me process. She was forcing me to go to the beach daily. And she was being my gatekeeper, keeping certain people away from my energy, making sure I was eating, taking care of myself, all the things. And after she went back home, then I'm here in my house by myself. And I was going through these different emotions. And so what I would do is, if I was having this massive spiritual epiphany, this aha, I would voice record myself. Or if I was in this deep like sadness of like, oh my God, you left me, or anger even, like I would voice memo everything. And I knew that I wanted to do that so that when I eventually did write the book, that I would have that real like raw emotion in the book of what I was going through, because now it's 2+ years after, and I'm in a very different place emotionally than I was. And so if I were to write the book just from this place and not include some of those real raw emotions, it wouldn't land as well with people that are actually going through it. And so, I was doing this, I had started writing it. And in May of this year, So I was on a show where the host, she's a psychic medium, and Skip, my husband, came through her very clearly and told her to tell me, finish the book.
Oh my
And
goodness gracious.
and
Wow.
she's like, he's telling me finish the book. You can do what you want, but she's like, do you know what book he's talking about? I'm like, yeah, the one about him. And so I told him, I'm like, well, if you want me to finish the book, you have to help me. You have to help me figure out like how to put it together. Like what are we doing here? And so when I asked for that, like I didn't hear things from him, but I had this massive inspiration. And like most of it had already been written. It was just a matter of like, okay, how do I put it together? And then it just flowed. And so it came out very fast.
Because you wrote so many books already. So can we have the book title of this book?
No, yeah. So this particular one is called Through Loss into Light, a journey of grief, healing, and the love that remains.
Wow.
Yeah. And what I want to say too is there's a little bit of a twist in the book in terms of my understanding about my soul contract agreement with my husband.
Okay.
So what I know from a spiritual perspective is we come into this earth life, each of our lives, with soul contracts with certain people, with our family members, with our partners, our friends, our kids, all the things. And so one of the agreements that Skip and I had was that, number one, I would know what love and support was. Number two, he would bring me here to Hawaii because I needed to be here physically. Like this is my place on earth where I thrive. I didn't know that, but it's even in my astrology. Hawaii is like my number one.
Sagittarius?
I am a Sag.
Oh, guys, we have a lot in common. I'm okay.
Yeah. So December 19th.
Is okay, I've just made it November 27. Okay.
Yeah, happy birthday. So this is my place. I didn't know when I moved here that like this was the place. I just know I was called here, but he needed to bring me here. And he couldn't be physically in my energy to support me the way that I needed support anymore. And so when he passed, it was like I was fully launched onto my highest timeline in this reality of being a galactic ambassador and being this multidimensional healer. I was already doing the work, but I wasn't in it as much because I was editing myself. I was keeping myself small.
Because you're wearing so many, and
because of him, and because he was so worried of like, well, what are people going to think of you talking about these ETs and the spiritual connection? And so he was worried what the external world was how they were going to perceive me. And I'm like, okay, that's none of my business. I'm here to just share. I'm here to do the work that I'm here to do. And I got the message really clearly the morning after he passed. Okay, yeah, it had to be that extreme for me to actually
embrace what you are really, and by embracing it also, like you're really helping others break out to what's the norm and through your story. So I can't wait to get my copy of that book in my hand. What are you already mentioned? What are the couple of things that I will gain from it? But from your point of view, wow, God, it's a time. What will your readers gain from the book? Because you said it's a couple of exercises or so. What will there be? Like you mentioned about some aha moments and.
Well, yeah, it's the book. It's really interesting because it's not just for people who are grieving a past loved one. It can be for people grieving an identity change. And identity change can be, oh, I changed my career, or oh, I'm retired, or now I'm an empty nester, or now I'm divorced. What's next? Like all these changes that we go through and how we can then recreate ourselves. What is important in our life? What do we want to do moving forward? And so it's inspiration for any transition that someone is going through. And it can be like the deep, like, oh my gosh, I just lost a loved one. I lost my husband, my wife, my child, my parent, my best friend. But it's more than that. And so it also, I think, helps people understand, again, we're more than just this physical costume, this avatar that we are wearing. We are energy. We are connected to all things. And when we know that we're connected and we start acknowledging that, then we can experience things outside of this physical reality. And it enhances our life. It makes our human life even better.
And I really like it when you said that it's not just for grief. It's just like, for a change of identity and everything. And I always, again, I said we always meet a person for a reason, and it's the universe, like the connection. And the timing is really just perfect for, two Sagittarius at almost a direction, and having, with the grief and losing spouse, me with the cancer, you with with skip suicide, but still it's grief, grief in a very hardcore form, and living try and through the grief it comes out a better version of ourselves. And what I like about what you're saying, like, it could be the loss of identity. So as we go through this, again, the Christmas season and going through the new year, what a great gift to give to someone or to yourself. Dr. Lisa Thompson's book, and I will have it everything in the social media. And so, any parting words, Doc, that you could share to our viewers as we go through this holiday season, and when grief visits, or when the thing of, I have to be like you mentioned, and me even like, oh, I have to do a little bit of like this or hide myself because of the norm. What message can you give them?
Well, everyone is here on their own soul's journey, and whatever your journey is, it is fully okay to be who you really are, to not hide yourself. Sometimes we do play small to stay within a box because of expectations from other people, and that keeps us from living the ultimate kind of beautiful life that we can truly live. And even if there's just one thing that you can do to access that state of joy in your life, do that. It is a short earth life. Now, we're infinite beings, but this reality on earth, it's pretty short in the scheme of all things. And so why not enjoy it? Like,
Exactly.
why not? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And I've been through some really hard, dense times, and I'm still here. I'm still smiling. I'm still living. I'm still thriving. And I know, like, okay, that was a really great first 50 some years of my life. Now I have another 50 plus years left. What do I want to do? What do I want to create?
So what does the future look like for you, Doc? What's the future plans for you? And how
Um,
can they reach you?
Yeah, well, so I mean, I am loving helping people really access their true essence of who they are, to help people remember who they really are. It's not learning about it, it's remembering, discovering. And so I am so excited about expanding what I do in this world, my service to this earth, even further. And that's working with my clients. I have a certification program for my infinity healing method coming up in the new year. Um, I have different classes that I teach. I love teaching people what I know. I used to be a professor, college professor, and what I will tell you, I love teaching adults who want to know what I have to teach way better than teaching college students. So I'm just here to share information and for myself to be my own light. The more that I am my light and I'm holding my frequency in a higher vibration, that I'm following my passion, that I am in a state of joy, then that energy propagates out into my family, my community, and all of Earth.
Dr. Lisa Thompson, thank you so much for your sharing your vulnerability, your authenticity, and some of the tools that we need to cope up with this roller coaster emotions that come along, the triggers as we get closer to that holiday. I mean, it's holiday season, or getting closer to Christmas and New Year. And for all the viewers, all of the information of Dr. Lisa Thompson will be and at YouTube and in my social media as well. So you feel free to keep in touch with her. I'm gonna be looking at for that book. And again, thank you so much. I've learned a lot in the last 45 minutes that we are talking, and I'm definitely gonna stalk you more in your social media as it. So with that, if you don't forget to subscribe if you like this comment, so you will get to notified for the next episode, and we'll see you in episode 30 of Gratitude Journey. Bye. Have a great holidays. Thank you so much, Doc.